It's been 25 years since Monday Night Raw debuted on the USA Network in January of 1993, and we're getting ready to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Raw. And for people like myself and my co-host Josh Eisenberg, it's been a big part of our entire lives. I'm looking forward. I'll be in New York City. I'll be at the Manhattan Center in the Grand Ballroom there for Raw 25, something I thought I'd never get to do. It'll be like stepping into a time machine. Looking forward to it. Hope to see any of you New Yorkers up there. Josh down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm here in Pittsburgh. Josh, as we get ready to preview Raw 25, I'll just put it out there right now. What is your favorite moment in the 25 years of Monday Night Raw?
That is a great question, Justin. I'm going to have to do a few, if that's okay with you. I think when seeing the Austin Beer Truck, there was no other moment that could define an era such as that. And especially seeing Vince McMahon waddle and swim in the ring, all the beer. I think that was fantastic.
Oh, the big swim was great.
Yeah, exactly. One other one that I think doesn't get enough credit that it absolutely should, because it brought back one of the biggest performers of all time and two WrestleMania main events in a row, is when The Rock was announced as a special host of WrestleMania 27. It was 6 days before Elimination Chamber. It was in Anaheim, California, I believe. And I remember that reaction from the crowd was unlike anything I've ever heard in my entire life, because a lot of people thought it was going to be somebody like a dud of Justin Bieber or a Bob Barker or some ridiculous celebrity host that they shoved down our throats. But it gave The Rock back to us. And you might not think that The Rock's matches at 28 and 29 were meaningful. Well, check Vince's wallets. Check WWE's wallets. That moment there was one of my most memorable moments. And I was one of the many millions, and The Rock means millions of fans that were shocked by the Great One's return. What about you? What do you like most?
Well, like you, I'll take a couple. You know, I'm an Austin guy, so I'll go to the Bang 316. That piece of television, that episode of Austin hunting Vince and all the, you know, because I mean at this point the company is really on. They are really doing some of the most it's stuff that would never hold up today in today's politically correct world. So, I mean, to see how that unfolded, that was really something I never would forget. And then, there's a billionaire who just pissed his pants. That holds up for me. Talk about reactions. I mean, Chris Jericho's, entrance in the summer of '99 when The Rock's talking, that holds up still today, not only with, the surprise factor to a point, but just the reaction. I mean, it's just, you can, whether you watch it on the network, whether you find a YouTube clip, the volume, it holds up. The reaction was phenomenal from the Chicago crowd. And I got to get a third one, and these aren't necessarily in all these particular order, but, we can talk about all these moments. But a lot of these moments were all building blocks. They were all missiles. They were all bullets being fired in, of course, the Great War, the Great Monday Night War with WCW. So how could you not be a fan of Raw from the beginning, and then also, of course, watching Nitro from the beginning, and not say that moment when you see Vince McMahon shaking and hugging Eric Bischoff, the guy who almost put him out of business? That was just something that we really thought we would never, ever see. And
what about the simulcast, though, Justin? Whenever you saw Nitro on WWE television, that was jaw-dropping as well.
It was, but I'll fight back on this. It was a phenomenal moment of seeing Cleveland Raw, Panama City Nitro. But I think even to a point, especially in the last year or two, the death bell started to ring for WCW. You figured, okay, they might eventually go out of business. But even when they go out of business, I thought, okay, maybe we see some wrestlers come over. But I never would have thought Vince McMahon would have ever hired Eric Bischoff as an on-air talent. So that just really blows me away.
And I had a feeling, I didn't have a feeling at the present time, but looking back at it now and reflecting, Vince, why would he ever hire Eric Bischoff? Well, not as big of a competition as he was, and it is a little bit different. But a guy like Paul Heyman as well coming to WWE, he didn't have that surrounding stardom around him like Eric Bischoff did. But when I saw Heyman come in, I knew that anything was pretty much possible for WWE. And as much as SmackDown Live and SmackDown tries to be the show, there's a reason why people still know what WWE Raw is. And going to Raw 25 now, the double cast, obviously, in the Manhattan Center and at the Barclays. What do you expect to come out of this, aside from nostalgia? Will there be any big building blocks going either into the Royal Rumble or even further down the road into WrestleMania?
I think so. The trick is you have the Royal Rumble 6 days after, so you have to be careful on making matches because you still need to give purpose to the Rumble and those that are involved in it. But I definitely think the buzz is there. I think it's there for a reason. I do think we will get some tease of The Undertaker's match John Cena seems to be the front running in the rumor mill. I think we will get some tease, whether it is, and I'm not actually against seeing the Undertaker in both locations. The Undertaker, more than anybody, is justified to be seen in both locations. He was the main event of the very first Raw at the Manhattan Center, but of course he's had a lot of memorable moments in the bigger arena days of Raw, so I could easily see him, whether he starts off Raw, what an attention-grabbing that is at the Manhattan Center, whether he starts off somewhere at the Manhattan Center, maybe even makes a claim saying, much of my career started here, and I'm here to say, farewell and goodbye, because we haven't seen him since he laid his coat and such down at Mania. Perhaps he teases a goodbye, only for a John Cena or someone to say, I don't think you're done yet, and then we have Taker show back up at the end of the night, lights off, lights back on at Barclays. I think that would be very fitting if anybody should be seen in two locations and has that mystical power to be seen in two locations at one night. I think that The Undertaker is that person.
I agree. I think it's a great idea, Justin, him kicking off at the 8 o'clock hour in the Manhattan Center. And then potentially at the 10 o'clock hour, have John Cena come out, maybe not having The Undertaker say that he's done, he's finished, but maybe saying, I hear this Roman Reigns saying that he's retired me. Well, I'm not retired. I still have one more match in me. And then somehow where they tease that. The only thing that I could rebuttal with is if you do that, you automatically eliminate John Cena being a believable guy to win the Royal Rumble. But maybe that's not what WWE really needs. WWE really needs guys, young and up-and-coming guys, to be the ones that fans think can win the Royal Rumble. For such a long time, we had young guys like Sheamus and Del Rio win the Royal Rumble, guys that are fresh to WWE, but then they went back the past couple of years to establish guys that they know they can bank on, guys like Randy Orton and John Cena and Triple H, and the list goes on and on. For Raw 25, what I really want to see is maybe not necessarily The Undertaker's WrestleMania match, but what about a match for Triple H? I mean, we don't know what Triple H is going to do. Tease it somehow where you're going to have an involvement with Triple H. I would love to see some of the SmackDown guys there, maybe a Kevin Owens, maybe Shane McMahon or Daniel Bryan. I want Raw 25 to be a lot of nostalgia, but I want to take away 2 or 3 credible things from that show, aside from seeing Stone Cold back, which is going to be great, and then the New Age Outlaws and DX. There has to be some sort of importance to the show. If not, it's just going to be, okay, that was kind of cool, but what's the point?
Right. I'll tell you what, Triple H is he's going to have a Mania match. I've been sitting there trying to figure this out as we start to try to cross out the pieces of who goes where, to fit who with where. If we think that Roman Reigns is going to fight Brock Lesnar, if we think it's going to be Undertaker, John Cena, I've been trying to figure out, okay, Braun Strowman still needs a big match. Mm-hmm. And what if we got, what if it was a Braun Strowman and a Triple H? Better yet, I think even more as I take Triple H and spread it out, based upon everything else we keep hearing and stirring around. I'll give you one that we can fantasize about, Josh. What if it is Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Ronda Rousey and Braun Strowman? That gives Braun a big match. If he's not going to be in the title match, if he's not going to fight Taker, it gives Braun a big match. It'll be a SportsCenter highlight. It'll be all over all the sports shows. It keeps Ronda Rousey protected, so you're not putting her out there in a singles match, much less against a very untrained Stephanie McMahon. And of course, it gives Triple H, who is, an anchor to WrestleMania these days. So, as I'm fantasizing and trying to put pieces, that's something that's popped in my head. Again, you don't want to take away Braun's momentum going into a title match at Rumble, but I think we could always plant a seed.
I think that's a fantasy with Ronda and Stephanie, and you're planting a seed. Good to know. But I think this is a great idea.
I got what you did there.
I'm going to back you on it. Usually I'll try to argue and dispute you just for fun. But I think if you put Braun Strowman in a match like that, if you're not going to put him in the Universal Championship match, which is unlikely, this is the next best thing. Triple H is pretty much now the new Undertaker, where it's maybe not a championship match, but it's just as important on that card than any other match that you'll see. Looking at Sting, looking at Triple H at WrestleMania 30, looking at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, and last year, obviously. I'm in for it. And you give Braun that mainstream attention with Ronda Rousey on SportsCenter, that can attract the fans that Vince wants to bring back from the Attitude Era, because Braun, like you and I know, Justin, is a once-in-a-lifetime attraction.
Absolutely.
Close out CSR this week. Can I hear that Braun chant of yours? That Braun scream? Might be your best Braun Strowman yet, LeBron.
Woo! 2018, here we come. Chairshot Reality, WrestlingInc.com. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, do what you got to do. #1 procrastination tool on the internet, behind internet porn. New York City, I'll see you tomorrow.